Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and today I want to do a little bit of a show and tell. And I want to show you guys pretty much my primary gear bag for my camera equipment, or at least when I'm at home. And that's this big old Canon bag right here. It's a little bit unruly to hold, but yeah, this thing can contain a lot of stuff. I can fit 2 cameras in here, a few lenses, some accessories, this and that. It's got a nice sturdy strap. I've been using this thing for probably close to 10 years. I don't even remember where I got it from. I can always trust that this is going to keep my gear very safe and dry. But the thing is, it's really bulky, so I don't like to travel anymore with this thing. I usually just leave it here for shoots like I'm doing right now. Generally speaking, it's really just a container for stuff I'm using all the time, and I really don't bring it around anymore because it is just so unruly to carry around and use. So I'm always on the lookout for new gear bags that aren't necessarily going to replace what I've already got here, but things that I can use to actually work with and go out in the field to do stuff that aren't going to kill my back. So that's why today we're taking a look at this piece right here from Vanguard. Now, if you're not familiar, Vanguard is a company that makes all sorts of tripods, monopods, gear bags, and different camera solutions for various problems, and I really am a fan of their bags. And this one right here, I think, is gonna basically be the sort of thing that can replace my older camera bag, except doing it in a much slimmer and more fashionable kind of style. So what I've got right here in my hands is the Vanguard VEO City Tech Pouch. And this is in fact the TP33 model. We'll get into what that means a little bit later on here. But this guy is essentially meant to be like your commuter bag. So whether you're traveling from your home to an office, this is kind of meant to be just a general all-around solution to your typical stuff you carry with you, but making it a little bit more comfy, a little bit safer, all that kind of jazz. But it's also at the end of the day meant to be a camera bag too. So this can really solve a lot of problems in one really cool looking bag. And I gotta tell you guys, initial glimpse here, I mean, this thing is really cool looking. It's very sleek. I can already see this being really nice to hold and use, but it's one thing for me to kind of just sit here and talk about it without actually having tried it. So we're gonna go ahead and do some testing on this. But first, let's take a closer look at this bag and get a better idea of what it can actually do for you. Now, before I jump into the actual review part of this video here, I just wanna remind you guys that this product was in fact sent to me by Vanguard for the purposes of review, but I'm under no obligation to give it anything but an honest review. So if I don't feel like giving it any positive words, at this point, I don't have to. I can say whatever I want to say, and if you've watched my videos before, you know that's what I'm gonna do. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's go ahead and start testing this bag out. All right, so let's take a look at our VEO City TP33 bag. And this guy's pretty big. I mean, here's my hands in comparison to it. You guys can see how big this is, but still also fairly small and a really nice portable size. And just to really kind of give you an idea of the scale of this guy here, obviously we're gonna put this inside the bag in a little bit, but here is a Panasonic GH5, just gonna give you a rough idea of how this is gonna look here. So yeah, looking pretty solid right now as is. Now this tech pouch does come with a little tiny, I guess you can call it instructional pamphlet maybe? I mean, kind of, sort of, not really. It's more just kind of like a little flip book that essentially has some more information about the other bags, as well as the internal dimensions of this particular bag. And the one that we're looking at today, by the way, as I mentioned, it is the biggest here. You can see all that information right here. But to me, like, honestly, the most important part is gonna be the tablet size and the liters, I guess, which is gonna really be just how much volume this thing can hold here. The dimensions are important, yes, but I prefer to just have this information here. And this bag that we're looking at today is able to hold a 13-inch tablet and should hold 8 liters worth of stuff, which that is very important. That is the most across this line. It's also telling us about some of the features that we're gonna see here and some of the possibilities of how you can put things into here and just how much it can actually hold, but we'll see all that once we get into it. Same with this page here. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this part and then let's open this bag up. So up top we have a very nice little handle here, which you can pull right out and use to hold. We also have 2 zippers over here hanging out. So let's go ahead, unzip one of them, and let's open this bag up. And the zipper goes all the way to the bottom. Likewise, same with this one, goes all the way to the bottom, giving you a full range of possibilities when you open it. Oh, cool. So I got this one here. I haven't actually even touched this bag yet, but to, I guess, secure it in stores and for when you get this thing in hand for the first time, there are little snap guys over here. We can just go ahead and open that up, and that's cool to know, because that's going to basically be there to help prevent this bag from just swinging open and losing all your gear. That's right away already a really handy little thing to have. So moving on, you guys can already see some of the different compartments that we're going to be taking a look at with this bag here. So this is one of the things that they've been actually really heavily promoting, is the adjustable different loops and such, like you have over here. So this is going to be where you put some smaller gear, like maybe your pens or all sorts of little different things. There's also some pouch over here, it looks like. Yeah, so this is me just kind of giving it a quick little glance, getting some rough ideas about what's in this thing here. Let's see, nice little pouch in here, which has even more adjustable loops for things you could put in there, and it does open all the way up if you want it to, and that goes for both sides. So there we go. Lots of storage space hiding inside this bag here, and you can put whatever you want inside that. And on the opposite side too, this is where you're going to be holding a little bit more of your more sensitive gear, if you will. So currently housed inside this, we have the strap for the bag. I'm going to go ahead and put that on in a moment. Let's see, and we also have a few other compartments down here. We got a few other things hiding inside this section over here. Hiding inside the bag are a pair of clips to attach to the bottom of it to secure your folded tripod on the underside. Let's see, we have some more adjustable things to secure lenses and such over here. And then this looks like a pouch to kind of help make sure your stuff stays dry in case it rains or anything like that. That's going to stay right there because we'll definitely be needing that later. So, all right, let me give you guys a closer look at this bag from all different angles, and let's start packing her up. The camera strap is very high quality, and we'll spend more time with that in a moment, but it's easy to attach this using the clips located on either side of the bag. The zippers on the TP33 are waterproof, and the bag itself is supposedly quite water resistant as well, thick enough to definitely keep your gear from getting soaked, but not totally waterproof, hence that waterproof bag on the side. In order to test the storage capacity, I literally grabbed a bunch of random equipment of different sizes and started shoving it in to see what it could handle. I was happy to see that even larger items like zoom lenses, my charging case for my Rode Wireless Go 2 microphones, and even my Zoom recorder easily fit into any compartment. The straps used to secure everything are heavy-duty 1050D protective nylon, which is tear and abrasion resistant. They're the right amount of stretchy while also retaining their stiffness when expanded. Now here's a really cool feature. All of the compartments are also modular, meaning if it's not tethered into the bag, you can freely move them around as you please. The large compartments meant to hold lenses or camera bodies can have their sections pulled out entirely or replaced in new areas using their Velcro holders. And likewise, there's even an entire pouch that can be yoinked out and repositioned as you see fit. That's a high level of customization for a bag of this size. A feature I'll also chat more about in a second is the internal clips, which maintains the bag's structure when it's opened. This is secured by clips just like the strap uses, and this allows you to dig into the TP33 or any of the Vanguard tech bags to pull things out or put them back in without having to fully open the bag. In other words, you won't have to worry about anything falling out or being misplaced if you're on the move and just need to grab your gear immediately. There's also a compartment on the back of the bag, which I've made use of too here, and you can use that to store things like a tablet or even some notebooks like you see here. Once it was ready, I closed it all up and decided to let the review truly begin. So it's been about a week since I filmed that portion of the video explaining all the different things that the bag can do, and since then I've actually been wearing this a little bit to try it out and give it a bit of a test run. So here's some random cell phone footage that I shot by myself in various locations that is incredibly awkward looking of me actually using the bag just to give you some ideas about how it felt and how it looked. And the bottom line is that the bag is very comfortable, but with all bags, the comfort level does depend on how much you're carrying in it. Luckily, the TP33 does have a fixed mount, but that doesn't mean it still can't get pretty burdensome. But it's thanks to that really nice construction that it doesn't feel as much of a strain as a normal bag might. So the first thing I was really paying attention to while walking around was the quality of the strap and how this felt across my neck and shoulders. The adjustable strap works just fine. It lets you have the bag hang down as much as your comfort level will allow you. And honestly, even after walking around for about an hour with this thing, didn't really hurt that bad at all, and best of all, it didn't leave any marks on my neck. Now granted, I was wearing a jacket for these videos here, but even then, the back of the strap is made from a nice, soft, pliable rubber material, and it's quite nice to touch, and it feels pretty good across my shoulders, so that's not gonna really do too much to you. And likewise, even the sides of the straps, you know, they're decent, so I don't think they're gonna really leave too much of a mark on you if you're carrying this around with a lot of weight for a long time. And the straps themselves are very, very nice and extremely smooth. There's no rough texture on this at all, and this is the kind of thing that will definitely not scratch you up. If there's any point of concern, it actually would be that the handles are over here and they're just these kind of like snappy guys for the most part. And I think that they held on pretty well. They do make me a little bit nervous, but they really shouldn't because they're quite secure and I don't feel like there's nothing to really worry about here. It might just be my paranoia. But I've never had a camera bag break on me at this point here, so I probably have nothing to worry about. And while I was carrying the bag for the most part across my neck, I did use this handle here as well a few times, and it's pretty nice. It's fairly discreet as well, and that's kind of the best thing you could say about this entire bag, is that it is very discreet. But the discreetness can also be a con depending on how you look at it. So the thing is here, this bag, it really doesn't scream camera bag. It does kind of just scream a general commuter's bag. It's like anybody's briefcase. So it kind of blends in, but since it is a camera bag, that does mean that it has more of a firm surface area. And that can be a problem if you actually are commuting, because for example, with maybe a dom key bag that has a softer canvas material, those you can kind of fold up and get into some more positions. This is always going to be this exact shape, no matter what you do. It can't really be squished down. Really, if anything, it can only be squished up, and very, very little amount of that. So as far as like trying to squeeze this into a train seat or something like that, you got to make sure it fits this, otherwise you're going to be holding it on your lap. But I don't really even consider these nitpicks. They're kind of just more things to be aware of to figure out what you need for your purposes with this bag. So comfort level is great. There's really nothing to worry about as far as scratching me up or feeling the pain of this thing here. But as far as getting things out on the go, that's where this bag also shines. And because of those nice little strappy bits that we saw earlier, you can open the bag and not have it just flop out and fall over. And that's kind of a scary thing to have. So in other words, you can actually keep this on you while pulling stuff out, or you can put it down on a flat surface and get your gear out. But if you're kind of in a rush, you just want to grab it on the go, you can do that with this bag and not worry. Everything is easily accessible as far as the major outer pockets. If you want to get into an inner pocket, that would probably require you to actually put this thing down flat, but it's not too bad. There's no real issues here with that. Now there is one downside that I want to mention here, and that has to do with the material on this bag here. And this one is definitely a downside. In my opinion, the surface here is kind of a dust magnet. And that's kind of similar to, again, going back to a dom key bag and the sort of canvasy rough material. All that rough material has a lot of space for dirt and dust to get trapped between them. This bag is not quite as grainy looking or as rough feeling as a dom key bag or something with a heavier canvas, but it still does have a sort of texture to it. And I can tell you, I put it down in some places that had some dirt or even some dust, like a doctor's office, and it did pick up a little bit on the bottom very quickly, like almost immediately. So I'll offer this disclaimer: if you're not using the bag, I suggest you put it in a plastic bag or something else just to keep it from collecting tons of dust. Once it gets on, it's going to be kind of hard to get out, short of just beating up this thing a lot, and it's not worth doing that. So whenever you're not using it, just keep it stored somewhere nice, dry, and covered, and you shouldn't run into any issues. One thing I want to point out, which I didn't actually show off in the video, is that there is a pouch here, and yes, this pouch you can easily put things in, but what this is actually for is putting onto a larger Pelican case or suitcase or something like that. So the way you do that is there's actually a zipper hidden on the bottom, and it's very well hidden. You just unzip that, and now you can just stick the handle of a suitcase or a Pelican case or whatever right through here and easily secure it there nice, safe, and sound. But if you're not using it, just make sure you keep that thing zipped up, and it's a perfect pouch to putting papers or any little things inside. I'm very grateful that the bag is pretty deep though and can hold a lot of stuff. I mean, the fact is you can hold 2 camera bodies in there. You could hold 2 to 3 lenses, maybe, depending on how big they are. You could probably sneak a few others in there comfortably, as well as chargers and thin lights and pens and wires and whatever else you need in there. So this bag holds a surprisingly startling amount of equipment. And that's going to be handy if you're going to be out in the field and not knowing what to expect. The truth is, this bag was a joy to carry and to use. It was very easy. It made me feel so much more organized than my typical dom key bag or even other bags out there. And the fairly discreet size also made it a lot easier for me to just walk around with this thing and not feel like everybody was looking at me and thinking, hey, that guy's got a camera. It's not just the security of having the equipment all in one spot and ready to go. It's a security of knowing that I've got a little bit of anonymity when I'm carrying this bag around me. Nobody really knows what's inside it, and that makes me feel safe. That's not really the selling point of this bag. The selling point is the fact that it can store a great deal of equipment, and it's easy to use and has a lot of different functionality elements that make this bag stand out. But if I'm going to be commuting somewhere and I'm going to have a camera or 2 with me, I'd rather folks not know that. I'd rather just use my camera as discreetly and quietly as possible and then stick it back in this bag for no one to ever know. And the TP33 does that and so much more. Now, if you want to pick up this camera bag for yourself, I've got a few affiliate links in the description below for places you can find this. And if you click on any of those links, they help support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. So please consider using those and making some purchases. So that's our look at the Vanguard VEO City TP33 commuter bag. I really like this bag. It's definitely going to be part of my main rotation now, and the fact that I can actually unzip this section back here and use it on the go and bring it with me, that makes it so much easier and even more versatile than it already is. And that's kind of the word of the day with this bag, is versatility. It does so many things and has so many different functions that there's really no wrong time or place to use it. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.